are back again.
Hey, I think that's our intro.
Hey,
there it
is.
I think that's what we do. That's our intro.
That's the intro.
Let everybody know. Okay, the podcast has started.
That's right. We're back.
Well, welcome to episode 14. Wow,
Yes.
14.
Woo, rocking and rolling.
We're
baby.
doing good, man.
Yeah.
We got the goal is in our sights. 100 episodes.
Well, we're chipping away. Chipping away.
Yeah, we've stuck with it.
We did that. We're consistent.
Yeah.
We're consistent. And so here we are. 14.
Consistency is the key, guys.
Absolutely. Well, just like prospecting, we've been advising. So as always, another great episode.
Another good one. Episode 14. We're going to talk about, what the truth is behind investor offers in probate real estate, because it can go a million different ways.
Absolutely. Yeah, good point. And you can get offers from any type of buyer, but and we'll discuss this here shortly. But when you're getting an offer from an investor, typically it's all cash. But let's say you're getting an investor from a first-time buyer, a little bit different navigation, maybe a lot of repairs. And so you kind of have to navigate through that. But we'll discuss all that.
Yeah,
and kind of the pros and cons.
And Ray's always said this. I've always said this. You've heard this enough. But we always want to do what's in the best interest of the estate.
100%.
And sometimes that also means we have to coach the estate on perspective. They may want to put the house on the market and get top dollar and this and that, but the roof's caving in on the south side of the house, and it's just not. It's not going to meet any conventional lending standards. It could potentially go conventional, maybe. Definitely not going to go FHA or VA. We have to coach our clients. You have to coach your clients on what their perspective is, what their goal is, and how to actually realize it in reality. So we have all that. Yeah. We have all those conversations. And a good example, a real life transaction that will illustrate this for you was Mockingbird.
Yeah, the one we did, about a few weeks back, right?
Yeah. Yep. Now, Mockingbird's not like a funny nickname, because I know you guys know we give a lot of funny nicknames.
That is the street name.
That's the street name. Yeah, Mockingbird. Great. It was a great transaction, great clients.
Absolutely.
Ray called me from the road. He was down in Southern California at one of his kids' soccer tournaments and came into a client through the family of all the soccer players. Someone was there, and they just had a family member pass away, and they needed to do probate. And, the whole conversation started. So we get on the phone. We have a great conversation with the soon-to-be administrator, get everything ironed out on just the probate side. Didn't need an attorney.
No, well, you explained that, right? We have that as part of our team and can provide that to save them a lot of costs, which they appreciated. And they did save a lot of costs.
Yeah.
Because it was basically getting a lot of the paperwork that we assigned to our team member, and they assisted with all that. So we saved them probably like 10, 20,000.
Easily. Yeah. And the only reason why we didn't have to use an attorney on this specific file was it was not a very complicated probate.
Right. 3
heirs. They were all on the same page. They basically told the individual that Ray and I were dealing with that he's in charge. Whatever he decides to do is they're going to support it entirely. He didn't want any of the proceeds from the sale. He was giving it to his siblings. They needed it more than he did. He's pretty well to do. So we got all the probate stuff done. We did all the filings and document prep and everything for him in-house. Like Ray said, saved them tens of thousands of dollars. And then we got to the conversation where now it's time to start talking about how to sell the house.
Right.
Remember at first he wanted to fix it up himself.
That was an option, and we always propose all the options. Here's option A, B, C. We go through everything, and like you said in the beginning, what's best for the estate. So when that was proposed and that was an option, they started thinking through that. It's like, well, does that even make sense?
Yeah. All the time that has to go into it.
And they're busy working individuals. There's time. You got to fix it up.
They were paying the mortgage out of their own pocket.
Yep.
And now that's going to stack up because of the time that's going to go in to have the remodel the property, all that. That's just more money out of their pocket.
Yeah.
So they came off that cliff, and we started talking about an off-market deal to an investor. They wanted to entertain that, see what it looked like. Ray and I advised them, it's not going to be a number that you're expecting. It's going to be much lower than what you're expecting, right? And you want to be able to present that in a way to where it's going to be a super low number. That way, when the number comes in, it's probably going to be more than what they were anticipating, but still much lower than what they want.
Well, on that note, and sometimes that does work, sometimes it doesn't. Like you said, it's not the highest, but it's the least path of resistance. It's a net offer, so they're not paying our fees. The investor is. They're working it into their offer. Some people want that, some people don't. But we did have an investor. It was presented.
We took it to two different investors. First one came in. We told our client, it's not a huge number. It's not what you're expecting, but this is what it looks like.
And we presented that.
Yeah, no, that's way too low. Okay, absolutely. Well, here's another one from another investor. Same thing. Not what you're expecting, but this is what the reality is if we sell it off market to an investor.
Right.
No, that's way too low. Okay, great. Again, whatever's in the best interest of the estate is the direction we want to go. And if they want to look at everything, then we're going to show them everything.
Yeah.
And this particular client wanted to see what it looked like literally on paper, what a cash offer from an investor off market would look like. So we showed them that. And that wasn't what they were feeling. So then the next option was, let's go on the market as is.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We're going to get a lot of investor offers, but we might also get a retail buyer because you never know. Maybe there's a guy out there who can do all the work himself.
And wants to keep it as a rental so they can pay a little bit more than a flipper would.
Exactly.
Because they're not looking on the margins. They just said, "Oh, I love it. It's a great price. This works great. I'm a contractor. I buy in the neighborhood," and that does happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So we put it on the market.
Put it on the market.
Let's see what happens.
Started getting activity, like a lot of activity right away.
Yeah, as we knew we would.
We knew we would, yeah. And it wasn't long. I mean, within the first week, we had multiple offers on it. And the offers were all pretty close.
They were very close, but then one outlier came in way over.
Over asking.
That was the red flag.
Yeah, right? That was a red flag. So our asking price was $485, I think.
Something like that. But it came over.
It was like $520. It was way over. And of course, our clients were excited by this. But Ray and I, we saw all the red flags.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to be cautious because, as your pops has always taught, right? A lot of times these investors, they'll put these way over offers to lock it up, and then they try and work you down on the inspection. So we kind of seen that up front.
Yeah, and that's how we coached our client. Was we told the client just what Ray said. Hey, we see this all the time. With a multiple offer situation, an investor will come in with an inflated offer number just to get you to sign their offer and get rid of all the other offers. And then what they're going to do, like Ray said, they're going to start working you down on price through due diligence. So not only did we see this crazy inflated offer price, we also saw that this investor had due diligence worked in.
Contingencies.
An inspection contingency. Most investors don't buy with an inspection contingency.
Yeah.
Okay.
As is.
They're buying as is. So we saw that and explained that to our client why that is going to be an issue. And then on top of that, the price that they brought the offer in at, there's no way that the house is going to appraise for that number. So that's just another way for the investors to kind of hinge their bets that when the appraisal happens, we're going to see a difference, and the seller is going to have to come down that amount in order for us to be able to put the deal together because it only appraised for $470 or whatever.
Well, right, and they were open. And again, we always want to be extra cautious to protect our clients. So as you proposed, right, they were open to entertain it, but we said, well, we're going to add a counter, and here's what we're going to counter, and that was a counter with no contingencies, no appraisal. So if you're really true to this offer.
Well, what we said in that counter for the contingencies was we said we would rather have all the contingencies removed up front, or if you want inspection contingencies,
it's for your knowledge.
It's only for information purposes only, no reduction in price.
Correct.
And then we said similar verbiage for the appraisal because that was the other red flag. This investor, and it was checked at the bottom of the contract that this was for an investment. They were buying it conventional. They were putting down like 35, 40%. So they were using a loan, whether it was hard money or whatever, they were using a loan. So as you know, anytime there's a loan involved, there's going to be an appraisal. If it was a cash buyer, all cash, there wouldn't be an appraisal.
Yeah.
But there was a loan.
There was.
So there's going to be an appraisal. So we did the inspection contingency where it's for information purposes only, no reduction in price. We would prefer all your contingencies to be removed up front, and any difference between offer price and appraisal price,
they pay the difference.
They pay the difference. The buyer pays the difference.
Well, when we sent that counter, what happened? The
Crickets.
buyer went MIA. So,
Crickets.
and again, that was the gut feeling we had, and that's pretty much how it played out. So we obviously let the seller know up front the expectations. Hey, let's see what happens, because if they don't respond, then we know kind of this may have been a bogus offer.
Absolutely.
And so the buyer just went MIA, and to the agents, we did call him. He goes, "Hey, look, I can't get a hold of my client."
Yeah, he was trying.
He was trying, so it's no fault to the agent, right? And the investor wanted his agent to write that offer. And when we said, "Okay, if we entertain it, here's our counter back, how we're willing to accept this offer," and when we did that, the buyer was nowhere to be found. So, well, long story short, it just shows you, good thing we didn't accept it, because we would have been dealing with that. So now we went to the other offers.
Which was one of our investors, a new investor.
A new investor.
Yep. And he was kind of that needle in the haystack where he can do a lot of the work himself, and he's in construction. So he has a crews and everything. So the costs associated with fixing up the property, his margins were much lower. So he was able to pay more.
He was able to pay more because he was the one doing the work.
Yeah. And it was his offer was about $100,000 more than the other two investor offers that we brought to the table before it went on market.
And that's why we said, let's go on the market.
Offers on your probate properties, you have to just always make sure that you're looking for the red flags.
Yep.
You want to always be coming from the position that what's best for the estate.
Always what's best for the estate.
Always.
Yep.
And even if that means that the estate's going to have you spinning your wheels, running through a bunch of different options. And I don't mean just explaining them, but like the example we just gave you on Mockingbird, actually putting those different options in place. The only option that we did not actually move forward with was fixing it up ourselves. And having the estate fix it up and put it on the market for top dollar.
Well, we showed them what ARV after repair value was for that type of home in that neighborhood. So now you reverse engineer it. Okay, I'm going to need this amount to fix it up. This is the profit I'm getting. And at the end of the day, right, it wasn't a huge profit, but it was a profit, but it would have been 3, 6 months, 8 months down the road. And sometimes they just want to move on, get what the most they can get, and be done with it.
Yeah, and he was giving the money to his siblings anyways.
But like you said, we presented everything in writing, sent to them so they could see it, and that's what you have to do. You got to do a little legwork, let them see what the best option is, and coach, talk them through it, and do what's best for the estate.
And the big takeaway from this podcast episode, when you are entertaining investor offers for your probate, being able to have the understanding and the knowledge of what to look for, what red flags to look for. Because at the end of the day, the buck stops with you, and the estate hired you to protect them and to keep their best interest foremost and forward in front of everything else. Yeah. So when you have your property, your probate property on the market, it's an investor deal. You know you're going to receive multiple offers. Just keep in mind what we talked about here. It's not always about what the highest price is. You got to look at those terms. And those terms will paint a clear picture of what the expected expectation is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you hit it on the nail. That's exactly what it is. So this episode was just more or less just know what you're looking at when the offers come in, and always protect your client.
And if you're dealing with a deal and, maybe you're not super seasoned or it's something you haven't seen before,
reach out.
We'd
love to help you out, right? It's your deal. This is what this is. The Hero Collective. We're here to help, and you be the hero.
That's right. And we all can win together. All rising tides rise all ships.
Yes, they do.
So, but for now, that's episode 14.
Yes.
I hope you had a couple of good takeaways from that there.
Yeah, leave a comment. We'd love to see.
Leave a comment.
Tell a friend.
Tell a couple of friends. Share some of your stories with us in the comments.
Yep.
And let's get the conversation going and let's all win together. But
Absolutely.
For now, as always, I'm Gary.
I'm Ray.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.